In May of 2026, I flew up to Portland and bike-packed to Los Angeles, riding over 1,100 miles down the rocky sea cliffs of Oregon, redwood forests of Northern California, the iconic Pacific Coast Highway of Central California, and sunny beaches of Southern California, with the green hillsides to my left, Pacific Coast to my right, and endless pavement in front of me. Join me as I ride from PDX to LA. Woke up to the sound of rain as predicted.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this either.
As if that wasn't enough, I also woke up with a headache. The strange bed I'm in does not exactly provide me the comforts of home, but I don't want to get out of it. I text my friends the situation I'm in, whining like a little baby. Aaron and Javi suggest maybe take a day off. Alicia thinks I should stay another day in Santa Cruz. Recommends a nice spa in town. Dear friend Cote asked, "No puedes partir mañana?" I feel like there's a pattern here, but I'm not sure what.
The joys of bikepacking. Yes, it warms my heart.
But seriously, riding in the rain doesn't sound like much fun, but being cooped up in a motel in a strange town with nothing to do, by yourself, for the day sounds like even less fun. I mean, it's raining all day. What am I gonna do? Take a stroll on the boardwalk? Besides, I tell myself, I've ridden many days in the rain when I was bikepacking in Patagonia last year. This should be nothing. To further steel myself for the day, I reason that this is a perfect situation to stress test the new Ortlieb trunk bag. After further whining with friends, I eventually get up and hit the road. I slowly make my way to a cafe to have breakfast, wondering if I'm doing the right thing. The headache gets stronger during the meal and robs the food of its taste. I'm prone to migraines, so if this progresses to an attack, I'll just be a useless blob. I pay the check and stiffly walk to the bike and back on the road.
Alright, we're doing this. Santa Cruz. Ow. I'll be lucky if I make it to Capitola.
I stop at a cafe next to the 101 for a latte to warm me up and take 3 Advils, hoping that'll do something for the headache. A lovely woman with long wavy silver hair notes my bike leaning against the glass outside, walks in, and jokes it's a lovely day. She looks like the type who back in the 90s listened to the Pixies and Liz Phair, studied English Lit, volunteered at the local clinic, supported the ACLU, did not sell out, and had a Greenpeace sticker on the bumper of her car. She's driving a U-Haul today, going to LA to help her son move. I joke with her asking if she could give me a ride. Sure, if I want to hop in the back. As Johnny Carson would say, I'd give up a week's worth of paycheck to be her navigator. Before I continue, I need to point out this truck stopping and waiting for me to pass before turning into the shopping center. I had another driver do the same thing yesterday. Nowhere else have I seen this kind of courtesy being given to cyclists. Gotta give credit to the Santa Cruz drivers. Nice people. Okay, enough lollygagging. Back to the recap. Cold and miserable just about sum up the day. And when not cold and wet, then fighting headwind. I stopped by a fruit stand in the middle of nowhere south of Moss Landing for a lunch of avocados, oranges, and nuts. It stopped raining, but the air will remain cold for the rest of the day. 338 miles to Los Angeles. In my current state, that seems to be an insurmountable distance. How in the world am I going to bike that far, I think to myself. I get to Seaside, a small town just on the other side of Monterey, around 4 o'clock, and I'm out of gas. I can't even fathom the idea of riding 37 more miles to get to Pfeiffer Big Sur State Park. I get a bowl of pho to warm me up, then head to a motel I found on Google. Monterey is where the Sea Otter Classic is held, and the motel happens to be located across the street from the breakfast spot I go to when I attend Sea Otter. I guess it was meant to be. So I asked the owner of the hotel, the motel that I'm staying in, if there was a way I could hose down the bike because I didn't want to, told her I didn't want to mess up her motel room. And so she's kindly letting me use this hose to spray down the bike. So that's nice of her. Get all the grit and grime off the bike. The beauty of Ortlieb bag is that it's waterproof, so the inside is still dry. Whatever the content is protected, and I could just hose off the bag. Let's check out the motel room du jour here in Seaside, California, just on the side of Monterey. Look at this. Nice and spacious. Not bad. Alright, I'm gonna leave this here for now. Today was only a 40-mile day, but given the circumstances, I'll take it. This morning is a slow start in more ways than one. I ran out of regular Advil and my knees are aching this morning, so I take 2 Advil PMs to start the ride. I never noticed them helping me get to sleep, so I figure this PM thing is just marketing nonsense. For the rest of the morning, I'm super drowsy and fight off the immense urge on many occasions to stop and take a nap on the side of the road. Today is a notable day because today is the reason why this whole ride is happening at all. Last September, when I first rode from Sonoma to LA, I had to take a detour inland after Santa Cruz because the PCH was closed south of Big Sur due to a massive washout. I didn't really enjoy riding that stretch of the trip, so when the PCH reopened right after I did the ride, I knew I had to do it again, but this time do it proper and ride through Big Sur and down the coast. So that's how this whole thing got started. Today I ride past Carmel and Big Sur, past the section of the PCH that was closed for 3 years due to the washout, across the famous Bixby Bridge, and continue south along the coast many consider a must-do road trip experience of California. I was in a bit of a conundrum of whether to have an easy 37-mile day to fight for Big Sur State Park, or do a big day riding a century to San Simeon State Park. But then, last night I discovered that Limekiln State Park, perfectly positioned between the two at 62 miles away, just opened a hike and bike campsite. So that's where I'm heading to. After the slow start, after I get away from the towns and the buildings and the traffic, today becomes another day like many days previous. Up and down rolling hills along spectacular bluffs kind of day, away from the hubbub of civilization. Except for the multi-million-dollar homes and estates dotted along the edge of the earth. It's a brilliantly clear day, yesterday's rain having washed away all the dust and smog from the air. I labor up a steep climb, and when the road finally flattens out, the stretch of the highway in front of me is suddenly busy. I soon realize why. The Bixby Bridge is just ahead. The bridge that's on many travel guides and brochures, commercials, and TV spots. The same bridge the Peloton rode over during the tour of California. The bridge that is one of the centerpieces of the bikepacking trip. I finally ride over the bridge that's been on my mind for many years, and I have this overwhelming sense of, meh. I've seen and ridden over many bridges during this trip, especially in Oregon, and since you can't really see the bridge when you're riding on it, riding over Bixby Bridge is like riding over all the other bridges. And this pretty much sums up my feeling for riding through Big Sur. I had several friends ask me, all excited, "So, Big Sur, what did you think?" So I guess Big Sur is a big deal. But my feeling is, it was nice, but not any different than the other days of the ride. I think if I had ridden just from Sonoma to LA, Big Sur would have blown my mind. But having ridden down the coast for 2 weeks by that point, My mind has been dulled by all the previous epic coastlines that came before it. Too much of a good thing, I guess.
Great.
I make it to Limekiln State Park and find the hike and bike section of the campsite is situated next to a creek, secluded down a hill from other campsites. This just may be the prettiest campsite so far in the trip. I wake up at 8 a.m. with a headache as is becoming the norm lately, so I take my time eating breakfast and packing up, finally leaving camp at 11 a.m. The area is shrouded under a layer of fog. I love the fog and I love riding in it. I love the damp air, I love the moody atmosphere it gives to the place, I love the mystery, and I love the quietness. So despite the headache, I'm enjoying the first moments of the ride. I'm headed to Morro Bay, 70 miles away, and this segment of the trip takes me through a sparsely populated stretch of the highway with very little infrastructure or amenities. I stop at one place in the middle of nowhere, the type of place that has signs telling you how far the next gas station is, and pay $9 for a cup of latte that is the worst cup of latte I ever had, far worse than any of the bad coffees I had in Patagonia, and $30 for a plate of pasta that reminds me of the meals I had in elementary school. Beware, highway robbery is alive and well. Prepare your trips accordingly. People ask me why I do these kinds of rides, or why I ride at all. Obviously, there's a health benefits of the exercise, but cycling also helps to burn off the excess energy that makes the brain go into overdrive. Hard to think of anything after a 100-mile ride, but even an hour ride helps. When I'm home and hard at work on a project, I find going on a ride to be helpful for my mind. Going on a ride helps to pause all the thoughts occupying my brain, obsessing over the details of the work, the rent is due, how should I reply to that email. I need to be paying attention to what's in front of me on the road. The pothole, the upcoming red light, the dude driving the souped-up Honda is not paying attention and is about to cut me off, so slow down. Paying attention to what's in front of me right now helps to rest the brain and reset for the rest of the day. I arrive at Ragged Point, a headland 15 miles north of the Hearst Castle. Ragged Point is nothing more than a hiking trail, general store attached to a gas station, and a hotel, but it's surprisingly hopping. There's a huge barbecue station feeding a large crowd being entertained by a live band. Damn it! This is where I should have stopped. I get an ice cream sandwich from the general store, wolf it down, then get back on the road. There is a strong and consistent tailwind, and I get to Cambria, 24 miles away, in just an hour. I'm flying, and this puts me in a good mood. I break for another ice cream bar, a bottle of Mexican Coke to wash it down, and restock up on Gatorade before I jump back on the tailwind train towards Morro Bay. One of the fun pastimes during the ride has been watching the hawks gliding the thermals along the coast. I wonder what their day is like, and what they're seeing from their vantage point. I imagine that they're flying alongside me, making sure I'm okay. They radio it down to the next group, who then takes over the guiding. When you spend hours and days pedaling a bike along an endless highway, you imagine silly thoughts like this. Some people speak of having breakthrough ideas from biking, solutions to nagging problems, epiphanies, brilliant ideas that develop into the next great thing. Same with taking regular walks. I wish I could say I had those experiences, but over the decades I've been riding my bike, I've yet to have such a moment, sadly. No MacArthur's Genius Grant for me from riding the bike yet, but I can hope. Now, a 2-hour ride is fine and all, but why ride across 2 states for 3 weeks? Well, there's the adventure of it. I'm not an elite athlete by any means, but I do enjoy pushing my body to its limits and see how far it can go. It is fun to take the body beyond the narrow expectations people have of it. And like any good vacation, breaking away from the routine to go and see and do something new recharges the mind. There are people who do these kind of rides and they wax poetic about the land they traveled in, the sights they saw. As breathtaking as some of the sights may be, I'm finding they don't have a strong hold on me emotionally. If you've watched the previous videos from the series, you probably get the hint that I'm kind of getting bored of the sights. And when I think back to the 4 months I spent bikepacking in Patagonia, what I remember the most are the people I met and got to know. I guess this is why I photograph portraits, not landscapes. So what I look forward to the most are the people I will meet and the stories they'll share with me. Ian, Valo, Nate, Kyle, Rocky, Carol, Troy, Al and Sylvia, Muhammad and his girlfriend Angelica, who lives in Colombia, Robert, the elderly lady at the Vietnamese restaurant in Monterey congratulating me on the ride, wishing she could do the same. The man on the train telling me about his crazy Bo Derek lookalike ex-wife number 2. They have all shaped this ride into its own unique experience, separate from the other rides. I'm in a zone, riding the slipstream of the tailwind. I'm going so fast I feel like I'm riding a road bike unencumbered from all the stuff I'm carrying. Soon, Morro Rock appears in the distance, looming over the vista, like the visions Richard Dreyfuss have of the Devil's Tower in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's a prominent presence the rest of the ride, slowly getting larger and larger, a landmark for a sailor's journey's end. I get into Morro Bay by 6 p.m., stock up on supplies for the camp, and check in at the park at 7 p.m., a 70-mile day. Thanks for watching.